Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Friday, February 3rd, 2017. I am Dave Biddle, very happy to be joined by Patrick Murphy. Patrick, there's been a lot of hype, and rightfully so, regarding Ohio State's early entries, all 9 of them. What a star-studded group, these 9 guys. I mean, the whole class is just amazing. But let's focus on these 9 guys that have enrolled early. When you look at these 9 guys, which of them do you think have a legitimate chance not just to play as true freshmen, but to play a lot as a true freshman, to really have a big impact right away for the Buckeyes this fall?
Yeah, I think it's interesting with this group because there's so much talent that is already on campus, and there's opportunities at a lot of these positions. Obviously, I think the secondary is probably the most obvious route to playing time just because of what Ohio State lost last year. So that would point towards Jeffrey Okudah, Sean Wade, those guys. But Baron Browning, I mean, he's another name. Obviously, the middle linebacker spot with Raekwon McMillan gone, that's going to be a spot that is open. We've seen it with Raekwon, that opportunity to at least play as a freshman, and Raekwon obviously contributed quite a bit as a true freshman on that national championship team, even though he wasn't a starter. Isaiah Pryor is another guy I think you could throw in there with the secondary. Josh Myers, I mean, offensive lineman, true freshman offensive lineman, and Michael Jordan started last year. We know that there's an open spot there. So I think there's plenty of room for these guys. Maybe the guy that I would say has the best shot to get in there and just see snaps from day one would be J.K. Dobbins, the running back from Texas. With just Mike Weber as the returning guy that we know is going to play running back, that's going to be a battle this spring between him and those other guys in there. So maybe he's a guy that we see in that first game against Indiana if they get up big, just because that spot's open, and you used multiple guys in there. But I think those other guys have a good shot to compete with the guys. We do have to remember that there are also a lot of talent on the roster, and while this time of year we obviously fall in love with these incoming freshmen, they've got their work cut out with them getting ready to experience college football for the first time.
You make a really good point with J.K. Dobbins. Even if he didn't enroll early, I think there would be a really good opportunity for him to play right away as a true freshman. I mean, Demario McCall did not enroll early last year, and Demario McCall was still able to see the field. And J.K. Dobbins, a lot of people, myself included, wondered, is he going to be a true running back, or is he going to be an H-back? Might he be both? Urban Meyer indicated, at least to start out, they're going to have him at running back. J.K. Dobbins says, he's saying the right things. He just wants to get on the field and help the team. But, you can kind of tell he prefers just to play running back. And I asked him if his listed weight of 200 pounds is accurate. He said, no, I'm up to 208. So he was really quick to say, no, I'm 208. So really a likable kid, and I feel like if he's already at 208 pounds, Patrick, when he should still be, a high school senior, I think he's easily going to be able to get up to 215 in this strength program. And I think you're right. I think he's going to play a lot as a true freshman. I think just the fact that he's putting on that weight, he's already at 208 and probably get up to 215, I think will allow him to play running back.
Yeah, I think so too. We haven't seen much from Antonio Williams, so it's kind of tough to judge what he can bring. You mentioned McCall. I think he's going to have the first crack at that H-back spot, and then they'll kind of go from there this spring. But with the weight training, I think we should also point out that if I remember correctly, Dobbins was hurt last year. Didn't he break his leg fairly early?
Yeah, hurt his ankle. Yeah, first carry of his senior year. I said he averaged 12 yards per carry as a senior. He had one carry for 12 yards as a senior.
Right. So you have to think, the kid while, recovering from an injury and rehabbing, had time to kind of consider what he was going to do at this next level and kind of begin to move towards that because he wasn't focused as much on his high school season.
And you mentioned the Demario McCall. I completely agree. He will be the H-back, and that will leave. I mean, I'm sure he could move to running back if need be, but he's a kid that just needs to add, strength to his frame. But I think he will be. He'll take over that Curtis Samuel role. We won't mention the guy that used to play at Florida, but I think then it'll be. Mike Weber's going to be the starting running back most likely, but hopefully J.K. Dobbins can give him a run for his money, and then of course Antonio Williams. Hopefully he can come around as well. You mentioned the defensive backs when we started this conversation. I mean, this is just, first of all, it's unbelievable how well they recruited in the secondary, and what a great time to do it when you lose 3/4 of your starting secondary early to the NFL. There's an interesting debate on our board right now, Patrick. Jeffrey Okudah versus Sean Wade. And I joke, this is the definition of Buckeye Nation problems, when you're trying to compare who's going to be better between the number 1 corner in the country, Jeff Okudah, or the number 2 corner in the country, Sean Wade. And for a while, I was kind of taking the easy way out and saying, well, I think Jeff Okudah is going to be a safety. Wade's going to be, he's a true corner. Right. But, Okudah seems set on playing corner. The coaches say they're going to let him play corner. He wants to be a corner. He's talking about guys that have played at Ohio State and in the NFL that are exactly his size. I mean, he's a smart kid. He's done his homework. Break it down a little bit. Do you think Okudah will stay at corner? And between those two, I know it's a tough call. Who do you think is going to have the better career?
Yeah, I think it'll come down to necessity. How some of these other guys at safety do, the guys that are already enrolled. Urban is not shy to put young guys on the field. I don't think if they're ready, and if he comes into the season and is one of the best safeties on the roster, I think that you could see potentially either of them, I guess, moving to safety. In terms of who will be the better player, that's projecting quite a bit between two talented guys. I think Jeffrey Okudah is the more polished guy now. Sean Wade certainly has the ability to get to that level. Just Okudah with his size. Sean Wade has a lot of the technical stuff from what I've seen. We're grasping at straws here to find a difference, but I'll go let the guys who did their recruiting homework, and I'll go with Okudah, but only by a hair, I'll say.
Almost like he's one spot above Sean
right,
Wade,
yeah.
is what you're saying. How like Okudah's number 1 and Wade's number 2 in the country. That's interesting. And we obviously had the signing day press conferences the other day. I say press conferences because it was like one thing after another. We didn't have all 9. We have 8 of the 9 early entries. Josh Myers had a conflict, but if you missed Josh Myers on Mark Neal's radio show, we have that podcast on Bucknuts for you, so you can check out Josh Myers. We had all the early enrollees, Patrick. We had Coach Meyer, Mark Pantoni. We had the new assistant coaches that we were recording on radio, on Myers' radio show. It's too bad we didn't get a chance to interview Kevin Wilson, but we'll finally get a chance to do that, and the other new coaches. But what I want to ask you, just any main takeaways you have. It was almost like a little media day we had on Wednesday. Any big takeaways you had from that day?
With the players, the biggest thing I took away was how ready these guys seem. Not just for, we obviously didn't see them practice, but we've seen highlights, we've watched game film. In the case of Tate Martell, I've watched him play on television a couple of times. But I think just in terms of handling this whole situation, we've seen freshmen come in and be really quiet and shy and, not ready for maybe that other side of college football where you have to deal with the media. These guys sat there for 20-some minutes and media people are walking around. They get asked the same question over and over again. So I can see where that would be frustrating. I've talked to guys before that have said that you have to get used to that side of things. It's not just go and play football like a lot of these kids did in high school. So because this class is so highly profiled, I think it's very cool that they're already, talkative guys, want to communicate with the media, those type of things. They've dealt with it through their entire recruiting. So that was a neat thing, and they all seemed like pretty solid stand-up guys from meeting them for 20 minutes or so. From the press conference, I took away how excited both Coach Meyer and Mark Pantoni are for this class. I think the happiest we ever see Urban is on signing day, but this signing day seemed to be at another level. He was in as good of a mood as I can remember him since maybe he took the Ohio State job, talking about these kids, joking, talking about his pranks with Jeffrey Okuda, or with Baron Browning, and, just in a good mood. And we don't get that from Urban all that often. Usually he's focused on what he's got to do that week for the game or in whatever the case may be. So you could really tell that he's excited about this class. Not to say that he hasn't been excited about classes before, but this is a class that, I think he's very optimistic about the future, as Buckeye Nation is.
And last thing, we have about a little more than a month till spring football starts. What do you think is going to be the main storyline for this Ohio State Buckeyes team heading into spring?
Well, I think just the nature of the beast, we're going to look at the offense. That's what people want to see. The defense has been good these last few years. The offense obviously struggled at times in certain aspects last year. And it's the passing game and how Kevin Wilson and Ryan Day handle, quarterback play, I think is the big thing. Now, how much we can take away from that in spring football when, we see little bits of practice. We see the spring game where they're going against each other. Probably not everyone will go for, who knows, health-wise and things like that. So, but I think that's the thing that everyone wants to know about is are these guys getting the passing game up to snuff, as Urban Meyer has stated a couple times now, and what maybe differences are we seeing with JT Barrett, with the offensive line, with the receivers under these new coaches, Ryan Day, Kevin Wilson? How is this going to be changed, and is it going to be significantly improved when they step on the field next fall to take on Indiana?
Great insights, as always, out of my man, Patrick Murphy. Thank you very much, Patrick, and thank you to all listeners out there for tuning in to the show. Hope you have a great day and a great weekend. Let's hear some Buckeye swag, best damn band in the land.